All right, for 30, 60, 90 right triangles. Obviously, the difference between this and the 45 is the angles. When you change the size of the angles, you change the sides. So, the smallest side will always be across from this 30. That's your short side. Across from the 60 is going to be the long side or the longer side. And then, of course, always there is the hypotenuse. You got the short side, the long side, and the hypotenuse. You have to be able to identify which one you're talking about. 30, across from the 30 is the short, across from the 60 is the long, and across from the 90 is the hypotenuse. All right. The way you do these, hypotenuse is twice as long as the short one, and the long one is square root of 3 times as long as the short one. If you have the short side, that's the best one to have, the easiest one to do. All right. Any questions on what we got? All right. If you've got the short side, that's the easiest one to work with. Which side do I have on this? Short. Across from the 30 is the short side. The rule says if you want to find the hypotenuse, you do what with the short side? Times by 2. So I'm going to take this 5. 5 times 2 gives me the hypotenuse of 10. And then I'm going to say, to find the long side, what does the rule tell me?
5 square root of 3.
Multiply by root 3. Well, 5 times root 3 is just 5 root 3, and that's it. So if you got the short side, that's the easiest one to work with. You multiply by 2, you multiply by root 3, you got your answer. All right, what is the hypotenuse?
14.
You take the short side times 2, get the hypotenuse of 14. Long side is going to be short times root 3. There's nothing I can do with that. All right. If I go to this one right here, the 2 root 3, the process doesn't change. What do I do with the short side? Times it by 2. So 2 root 3 times 2. What is 2 root 3 times 2?
4 root 3.
It's just 4 root 3. You multiply the regular number by the regular number and leave the square root alone. Alright, so take my short side and do what to get the long side? Now we should know this.
That's
What
2
is
square root
root
of
3
9.
times root 3?
It's square root of 9, which is 3.
We should know that automatic. 2 times 3. So my answer is 6. If you ever see a square root times itself, it's going to be that number. Alright. Square root of 2, what do I do with it? Multiply by 2. So 2 times root 2 is? Oh.
That's it.
Regular number times the square root is just that number and that square root. 2 times root 2, can't do nothing with it. If I go to the long side, I'm going to do root 2 times root 3.
Root 6.
Get root 6. Alright, so when it gives me the hypotenuse, what did I do to get to the hypotenuse when it gave me the short side? I multiply by 2. So if it gives me the hypotenuse, I'm going to divide by 2 to find the short one. So I'm going to say 10 divided by 2. Which one is it going to be, X or Y?
X.
X is my short side. So 10 divided by 2 gives me an answer of 5 there.
So then that's going to be 5 square root of 3.
And then I'm going to take the short side that I just found and say short side times root 3 to get that one. All right, what I got for short side here?
4.
And which one is it?
Y.
It's Y because it's across from the 30. So there's going to be 4 for that one because I divided by 2. And then 4 root 3 when I take the short side, multiply by root 3 to get the long. All right, so come down to this bottom one. 6 root 3 is my hypotenuse. What do I do with that?
Divide by 2.
So 6 root 3 divided by 2 is going to give me the short side.
3 root 3.
Divide the regular numbers, leave the square root alone. Get 3 root 3. Then I'm going to take that and do what with it?
Multiply by the root square.
Multiply by root 3. So I get 3 root 3.
That's going to be the
Times
same
root
number.
3.
It's going to be 3.
Root 3 times root 3 is just
3.
3. 3 times 3 is 9. Alright. Take my hypotenuse, 4 root 6, and do what with it?
Divided by
So
2.
4 root 6 divided by 2 is going to be 2 root 6 for Y. Then I'm gonna take the short side and multiply by root 3, which gives me 2 root 18. Now for right now, I'm okay with that, but have we talked about the breaking down part?
You said as of right now,
Alright.
that's.
I'll show you real quick what it would be. What is a perfect square number that goes in 18? Perfect squares are 4, 9, 16,
Square root of
9. And if I take the 9 out, that leaves 2, right? 9 times 2. What's the square root of 9?
3.
So the square root of 18 is really 3
Three
times square root of 2. And I have that 2 out front right there. So it would wind up being 6 square root of 2. If you give me 2 root 18 for right now, I'm okay with it, but understand that's what we're going to have to get to at some point.
But that's.
All right. If I had the short side, how did I get to the long side? Divide by root 3. I multiplied to get to the long side. So if it gives me the long side and I want to go back to the short side, I need to divide. So I'm going to take 6 root 3 and divide by root 3. What happens with that? The root 3's are going to cancel and leave 6. And now I have the short side, so how do I find the hypotenuse from the short side? Multiply by 2. 6 times 2 give me 12. Alright, 11 root 3 is the long side. What am I doing with it? So 11 root 3 divided by root 3. Those cancel off and leaves 11. Take my short side that I just found, 11, and do what with it?
Multiply by 2.
So 11 times 2 would be
22.
22. Alright, go down to that root 6. What's the process? Divide by root 3. So if I do root 6 divided by root
That's gonna be
3,
root 2.
I'm going to get square root of 2. So there's my short side. And then take the short side, multiply by 2. Well,
That's gonna
2
be
times
2.
root 2
Is that.
is 2 root 2. You can't do anything with it. All right, what we got?
3 squared 15 divided by square root 2.
All right, so divide by the root 3 here. That gives me 3 root 5.
That's gonna be 6 root 5.
Take the 3 root 5 and multiply that by 2 to get 6 root 5. All right, here are the rules. If it gives you the short side, you do those 2 steps. Multiply by 2 to find the hypotenuse, multiply by root 3 to find the long. If it gives you the hypotenuse, you always divide by 2 first to find the short, multiply the short by root 3 to find the long. If it gives you the long, you divide by root 3 to find the short, multiply the short by 2 to find the hypotenuse. What is the most important side? Short side. If you got the short side, you can work with stuff. If you don't have the short side, that's the one you got to find. All right, so what am I given on the first one?
The hypotenuse.
So if it gives me hypotenuse,
It's gonna divide by 2.
divide by 2.
And then
5.
That tells me the short side.
With a what?
Multiply by root 3 gives me the long
5
side.
root 3.
All right, if, number 2, what am I given?
The short side.
So if it gives me the short,
Then you multiply by 2 to get the
multiply by 2 gives me hypotenuse.
And then you multiply
Multiply by
by
root 3 gives me the long side. Number 3 is giving me the long side because it's across from the 60. So I divide by root 3.
Get 10.
Those cancel and leave 10 for the short.
And then you times it by 2 so you get 20.
Get 20 for the long. Oh, excuse me, hypotenuse.
How did you get 8-3 on number 2 and not 16-3?
Because it's the short side times root 3.
Oh, never mind.
All right. Number 4, it gives me the short side 2 root 3. Multiply by 2, get hypotenuse.
4 root 3.
Get 4 root 3. Multiply the numbers, leave the square root alone.
Then you get
And then
6.
2 root 3 times root 3.
So then 6.
2 times 3 would be 6 for that one. Number 5, root 21 is the long, so I divide by root 3 to find
7.
the short side. That's root 7. 2 times root 7 is your hypotenuse. Can't do anything with it. Number 6 gives me the hypotenuse, so I divide by 2. Gives me 3 root 3 for the short side.
It is 9.
And then 3 root 3 times root 3 gives me 9 for the long side. All right, if you give me the short side, what do?
You, to find the Multiply by 2.
So that would have to be 24 on the 12 times 2. Long side,
12 over 3.
12 over 3. If it gives me root 3 on the long side, divide and get 8. Multiply short side by 2, you get that. It gives you the hypotenuse.
Divide by 2.
Divide by 2 there. Multiply by root 3 there. Short side times 2. And then 3 root 3 times root 3 would be 3 times 3, which is 9. Alright, if it gives me the long side.
Divide by root 3.
Alright, now how am I going to fix that?
You multiply by root 3.
So 6 root 3 over 3. Those simplify and get 2 root 3.
Then you multiply by 2.
You get 4 root 3 there.